welcome back. I'm Baron Battlebred, your guide through the streets and whispers of Regate. Gather round, you lost folks, as we spiral back to the Timebreakers, trying to rewrite history and change their fates.
Timebreakers.
When we last left off, Shimmer had taken Lord Corvitash to his fiancée's house, and they were having a chat about trying to explain the whole situation, finally, as to why they were friends and why Shimmer was so interested in keeping them alive. Whereas Elise, Thaddeus, and Sarah had gone down to the Zealous Horse Tavern, sat on some saddle stools, and finally spotted somebody who looked like an assassin and made their way to the VIP room. Well, Elise did. Thaddeus was still eating, and Sarah was preoccupied with a bottle of brandy. With 128 hours left until the sacrifice happens, will they be able to complete their plans in time? I don't know. Elise, you have disguised self. You
Correct.
are standing outside the VIP room. You are pushing the door open. How are you handling this? What would you like to do?
As far as what Elise is doing, a simple patterned knock, something you might expect from, a shady rendezvous, like a dun 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 dun.
Maybe a little follow your little thieves cant. See if you got some secret rogue knocks going on.
Correct.
Okay. Why don't you roll me performance? Because you do have you are a rogue and you have thieves cant as a language. If there are special knocks, go ahead and add your proficiency bonus. So performance roll +4.
That is 11.
Interesting. That was not a good roll for you.
No.
So you knock, no answer. Yeah, still no answer. No shuffling of feet, no voices, nothing.
Let's give this another try, a different knock. Must be thinking of the wrong thieves' cant.
Okay. Let's see. So you know that your first one didn't work.
It wasn't shave and haircut.
Roll me a history check this time and see if you can remember anything from the future or from the past.
That is a 16.
That's much better. You know that the Assassin's Guild has their own knock, and you try that one instead, at which point a very kind of like surprisingly lighter than you expected, but also very gravelly voice goes, "Come in."
Elise will wordlessly enter.
All right, you push the door open, you step inside. Inside this room, immediately, you can see that there is the assassin character sitting at a table, a small round table, like on the side of the room. And you can see at a more lavish table, there are two other individuals, one very well dressed, it's a human individual, very dressed in, silks and golds and rings and jewelries, and way too much for this tavern. Like, not even trying to hide it, kind of way too much for this tavern. And you can see sitting next to him is a smaller, maybe a gnome kind of creature, but they are heavily scarred. And you can see a scar that runs across their throat. They are most likely the individual who tried to talk you into coming in just a moment ago. They probably can't speak very well. The human is going to turn towards you. And he's going to look at you for a second, and he's going to go, "Ha-ha! Marcus, you have returned. With good news, I hope.
The mark has been dealt with."
And you bring evidence of this?
Elise throws a wrapped and blood-soaked rag onto the table that contains the ear.
Yes. With Corvitash out of the picture, getting to the prince will be so much easier. I take it he was an easy dispatch?
Elise gives a simple nod.
He would be for someone of your talents. He's sitting there. This man is like clapping his hands in short, tiny bursts, just absolutely giddy with excitement. You're getting a side eye from the assassin sitting at the table, and the gnome sitting next to the man is also kind of looking at you a little bit, but not too much more than you would expect of somebody who's just untrusting of everybody. The man reaches under the table and he pulls out a large sack of what you assume is gold as it clinks as he drops it on the table. He says, 13,000 gold as promised.
Elise knows that the promise was more than that. However, and on the one hand, she is definitely greedy enough to ask for more. However, she's also savvy enough to realize anything she does can compromise the situation, and will stand there remaining silent
Roll me an
under
insight
scrutiny.
check.
13.
So hold on. Are you trying to stay silent because you're waiting for them to accept that you called their check?
Well, the way I see it, there are 2 other assassins here that presumably are expecting a cut of some sort. There is one patron who is offered 20,000 gold, but instead placed on the table 13,000. Presumably one of these other 2 assassins is a handler, the one that is going to make the conversation, is going to call the difference.
And you're right. As you stare at this human man who's placed a large sack of gold on the table, that dagger flies past you into the bag, splitting it partially, and the assassin who is sitting at the small table just says, "You know that wasn't what we agreed on." And he's like, he throws his hand up in mocking. I don't know what that emotion is.
Kind of a shrug.
What? Yeah, kind of like, ooh, big scary assassin man. Then he starts laughing again, and he reaches down and he pulls. Yeah, dismissive. Like, ooh, okay, you got me. He reaches down and he pulls another large sack of gold out from under the table, and he says, "All right, you got me. There's 10,000 in each." I guess you guys are smarter than you look. You would have to be in order to do the thing. I would never stiff you. It was just a little joke.
Elise will walk over, bring the bag slowly from the table of the wealthy patron over to the assassins to offer them the chance to divvy up the coin.
Okay. You hand over, you put the bags down on the small table with the other assassin. They grab the one that they threw the dagger into, and they kind of you watch as they just kind of weigh it in their hand and then drop it into a bag at their side, where it disappears into what you presume is a bag of holding. And they say, "Mine's good. Yours will be fine. He knows better than to stiff the Thieves Guild."
Yeah, Elise will nod, take her bag on the side. And she's paying attention to where the ear is going. Who is grabbing and taking the ear?
The rough-looking gnome is grabbing the ear, folding it back up and putting it on an inside pocket of their cloak.
And the gnome is one of the assassins or one of the patrons?
Based on the fact that they're sitting next to the wealthy patron, kind of like as a buffer, you assume that this is a bodyguard, rather than a member of, this person is definitely hired to protect this person, especially when dealing with, hired assassins. So you have currently 10,000 gold in a bag, and your business seems to be concluded. What would you like to do here?
Yeah, Elise will calmly walk out with the bag of gold.
The gnome is keeping an eye on you, just because they've only got the one good eye. It's watching you the whole time as you leave. But you step outside. Nobody says anything else. Nobody tries to stop you. You are successful.
Quick telepathy to Thaddeus. Deal is good. Meet in the alleyway, at least 10 paces behind.
Smart.
Thaddeus understands the message, and he is going to finish up what he's eaten, make sure everything's all paid up, and to go meet Elise in the alley.
Okay.
At the appropriate time.
So, Elise, you specifically said for Thaddeus to meet you in the alley 10 paces behind.
Yes.
So you would like to leave first?
Yes.
Okay.
To make sure she's not followed.
Gotcha. You step outside and into the alley. Roll me a perception check.
Goddamn. 9.
You quickly glance around and step deeper into the alley, but you don't see anybody. Thaddeus, will you be following?
I will be following, and I will be signaling to Sarah to follow as well.
Excellent.
Sarah will finally put away her bottle.
Elise is going to tuck herself behind some objects so she has maximum coverage when she drops Disguise Self.
Okay. So you drop Disguise Self in the alley?
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll me, since you're taking maximum coverage, why don't you go ahead and roll me stealth? Because you're hiding.
Yeah. 31.
That is very impressive. Go ahead and roll some dice here. Wow. Okay, I rolled a nat 1. I didn't know my dice were going to do that. That was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, okay, so you hide in the alley, and before Thaddeus can come out, you watch as the gnome comes stalking down the alley right past you, dagger drawn. and just
She makes no move.
continues.
Sounds like she's supposed to be there. She's just hanging out.
Right. They walk right past you, dagger drawn, paying you no attention. Their heads swiveling left and right because they've only got the one good eye. And you watch as they make it to the end of the alley. They look both ways down the street and stalk back around the side of the building. And then Thaddeus comes down the alley.
Elise,
Yes.
Elise, where are you?
Right here, in front of you.
Looks down. Oh.
So, how'd it go?
We are now a few thousand gold richer, which is rather exciting, I must say.
Did you find out why and what their motives are? They trying to do?
It seems it is a power grab. They're trying to remove Lord Corvitash to be able to, I'm assuming they're involved with the cult, or alternatively, they're trying to create a power vacuum that they can fill. But more importantly, they are now in possession of an object that I can cast a spell to find. I'm very familiar with that ear.
Oh, you sneaky.
Yeah.
You're right. You can't.
Mav Hatter pulls one over the DM.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you could. Okay. All right. You guys are having this conversation, and I assume you're headed home?
We'll be sharing additional details, and I don't know. What are we doing, Elise?
Importantly, we are stashing this gold somewhere where it can't be tracked or can't be found.
Yeah, that's probably safe. As you guys work on that, I know, two of you have a bag of holding at least?
Yeah.
Well, actually,
I do.
yeah, but we don't want to put anything else in that bag of holding.
Okay. So as you guys are hashing out those details, we're going to jump back over to Shimmer talking with Lady Seraphina. You sat down, and over the past maybe 45 minutes, you have spilled out as much of this story as you understand it.
Yeah.
I assume you start with the fact that you're from the future?
Yes.
Okay. So why don't you give me a brief description of the kind of things that you would say? Just give me a short rundown.
The fact that my group are in fact from the future, a version of the future where the cultists won and Regate was sent to limbo. She will say that she wasn't in Regate at the time of the sacrifice. She ended up there through other means. So she doesn't know exactly what happened during the festival. She just knows based on stories. And she is actually friends with Lady Seraphina in the future, and that she was actually in her necklace at the time, so she's not entirely sure how they ended up in the past, but they ended up in the past after doing a job for the NoTa company, which isn't important right now.
Okay. So you share all this information. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give me a history roll?
History.
Yeah, just for fun. For me.
14.
That's not bad. Based on the information that you have, based on the information that you know, and since Lady Seraphina is your friend in the future, you do have, you are able to sprinkle in information based on stories that she has told you about her past that make it that much more believable. So as you're telling these things, like first she's staring at you kind of like, like, I mean, yeah, sure, you're saying these things, but like, what do they really mean? These are just words. And then you start sharing information that she has told you, and then you start your story keeps adding up. And then by the time you're done explaining everything, she's looking at you like, oh my God, we need to do something about this. The question that I have is, would you tell her that in the future, Corvitash did not survive?
I would if she asked. I'm not going to say it in the story straight away. I'm going to wait for them to ask or say something. I'm going to be a little bit more hesitant whether or not she should.
Okay. Yeah, then I guess we'll start in that direction. This is a fascinating tale that you are bringing to me. And you say that you have such an interest in us because we are friends, and that you have saved my husband from assassins, as it were. Since you come from the future and, you are now interfering with events of the past, is this a situation that has come to light previously?
I am not sure.
You do not know?
Shimmer is going to hesitate.
Well, based
I don't
on
know.
the fact that he looks just as confused as I was when we started, means you also did not share this story with him.
No, I did not. You are the first people that I have told the full story to. That any of us have told the full story to.
Yes, I noticed in your story, as you were explaining things, you used many anecdotes from my own past. I noticed you used none of his.
Shimmer's going to hesitate for a moment, sort of glance at him and be like, that is because I have never met him. At least not till now. I'm sorry.
I see. So you have... I guess that means one of two things, doesn't it? Either A, you are lying to me, or B, that you have effectively changed his fate by saving him from this assassin.
I hope that it was the second.
I also hope that it was
fate.
the second. I would be quite sad to find that you are not only a liar, but that you let my husband die. I'm sorry,
I would
my
also
fiancé, not my husband yet.
I would also be very concerned to discover I am a liar.
But
yes, I hope I have saved him and changed his fate, and that this is not something that is related to us trying to stop the cult prematurely, which is a worry that I have had. We don't know.
I feel like your story is so convoluted, right? Like, you know anecdotes of my past, which means that if you have been spying on me, then you would likely have been spying on him. And it would be very silly if you did not include him in that information, if you had that information. But the fact is you did not, which means that he was not part of any investigation that you may have had into me to get my trust. So as near as I can tell, it's the only thing that makes sense, is that you are from the future, we're trying to stop a cult, and that we are friends.
Yes, I am also willing to retell the story under Zone of Truth, if you wish. It is also, I'm going to turn to Corvitash, that is also why when we went to the castle that day, the first day, when I was warning you, I resisted the Zone of Truth spell, because there were some truths I needed to get around when telling the story due to, well, being from the future.
Yeah, you were under a little suspicion about that, but it was a lot easier when your friend just kind of gave it all up. So clearly he didn't know about this, or I guess maybe he did. We didn't ask the right questions.
You didn't. It's more a case of didn't ask the right questions. Every one of us, of my group, are from the future.
All of you, even the little robot thing.
Yes,
that thing's so cool.
That is the robot is the Thaddeus's little war machine.
Thaddeus is the lady with the hair, right?
No, it's the man.
Oh, yeah, the man with the hammer. That makes sense.
Yes.
The man with the hammer made the robot thing. I get it.
I usually wouldn't be around them, but we're kind of stuck together given the predicament.
Why wouldn't you be around them? They seem like good people.
Usually, they're not my type of people. Usually, they aren't. We don't usually run in the same circles. Usually, you know.
Oh, I'm going to be honest. You don't really look like you run at all.
Wow.
Damn!
I'm athletic.
Calling her fat.
I have a +4 to acrobatics. How dare you?
Like I said that, like in character, I have this acrobatics rating.
I mean,
yeah,
that's great and all, but like
the unrelated,
for my own sanity, just because I said that, Shimmer, what kind of shoes are you wearing?
Right now I'm wearing servant shoes because of disguise.
Okay, but for the most part, what kind of shoes do you wear?
Not running shoes. What kind of shoes would nobles normally wear?
Probably something with short heels.
Yeah, so that, basically.
Like, like those 2-inch thick heels? Something that makes them a little bit taller?
Probably something like that, yeah. She, oddly enough, she wasn't, she would be wearing, some kind of short heel, normally, but, it would be, it wouldn't be disconnected, I don't think. It would be, a platform, fully connected.
Like a pump or a wedge?
Yeah, a wedge.
Neat. Anyway, so If what you are saying is true, and I am firmly believing that it is, because at this point I have to, then we are in quite a predicament.
Indeed.
So they have taken the lizard, the only other person that we knew we could trust. The guards themselves turned on my fiancée, and that means that we know none of them can be trusted. They took a powerful magical artifact, something that within its space completely dispels the magic. That is also not good. And we have until the end of this week-long festival in order to find and put a stop to them. And our greatest source of that, the lizard, has been kidnapped.
Yes. My associates are currently looking into the assassin that attacked Lord Corvitash. Hopefully they have some answers.
Well, if they ask too many questions, it will be very suspicious.
Indeed.
Let's hope they know this.
I believe they know what they're doing.
I hope so. But from what I can tell here, it sounds like that we are. What is the saying that they use? We are up a creek without a canoe.
God, this accent.
Indeed.
So, if how can we help? If we are all that we can trust, then we must be able to come up with a plan in order to protect ourselves and the rest of the town. What can we do? So, do you have a plan?
The plan right now, we need to get the lizard back. That is what the most important thing right now.
Okay. We need to obtain the lizard. Luis Ignatius Zephyr most likely went willingly. As well, he is a fighter. He sounds like he was trying to protect my fiancée, which means that he may have traded his own life for his. That is something his dumbass would do. It is noble, but it is foolish.
And it wouldn't have worked either. There was either the Stonewall spell would have sealed him in there, or the assassin that stayed behind. She's just going to shake her head.
Absurdity in every direction, apparently. That's okay.
Yeah, but that is why part of why we are looking into, the assassins. If they know where the lizard is, the better.
Okay. So your team is checking in with the assassins to see if we can find where they may have taken the lizard. Perhaps we should investigate into this cult, huh? Throw out some feelers, check with the few connections that we have that we believe we can trust.
There's, I've seen a play tell about this, so I know about the wagon jumpers, right?
Roll me a history check.
22.
Yeah. You know that there is a group of adventurers out in the city right now, also working on stopping this cult in their own roundabout way.
I know that there is another team working on this from this timeline.
Oh,
the original time. I believe they're called the Wagon Jumpers.
That is a silly name.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I think they tried to do something like jump a wagon over another wagon.
Well, if you are going to get a name like the Wagon Jumpers, you would have to do something as such.
Yeah. So, but they worked to try and stop the cult. I know they exist.
Well, you know they exist, and we know that the cult succeeded, which means that somewhere along the way they failed.
They failed. But if we know who the Wagon Jumpers are, we know that they're people who aren't with the cult. So at least that's another group of people that we know are firmly on our side.
Okay, I've got it.
So
then I, Lady Seraphina Ortmond, as I am, since we cannot send my husband out as people think he was assassinated, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I will send some of my most trustworthy people to find these wagon jumpers. And hopefully I can obtain more information for your team, perhaps, and maybe even give them enough information as to why they failed. And hopefully this time we may succeed. With two groups working on it, it may be enough manpower. Who knows?
I hope so.
Don't we all?
Especially with knowledge of the future. I know Thaddeus and Elise were in the city at the time, so they know more about the actual events, but they weren't in the festivals, didn't participate in the festival itself. So they have a lot more limited information than people who did. So they were basically cooped up at home, I believe. Correct? Out of character, correct? Am I remembering correctly?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Interesting. Well, there is not a lot that we can probably do this late in the evening. But I suppose I do have a question.
Indeed.
Noble to noble, of course.
Yes.
If you are from the future, and we know that the city gets a little bit, destroyed, do you know who survives?
I know people.
What businesses do you think I should maybe invest in?
Oh.
Shimmer immediately gets a shit-eating grin across her face and said, "The biggest company in the future is called the NoTa company. I have already put in a preemptive investment in them in this time."
You can't come back to the past without trying to keep a little money, huh?
Obviously not. I'm actually involved with them in the future as well. So,
so
they are.
knew.
It's a very good business.
Okay. So I should look into this NoTa company, huh?
Indeed.
A little less than, trying to save the world and stop a cult, but I will look into them a little bit.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Of course.
Right. Well then, would you like to stay the night here? For it is getting very late.
It is late, yes. And I would like to stay, keep watch, make sure things go well here before heading back out to my team.
Okay. You may stay in one of our guest rooms. I will get my fiancée cleaned up, and I suppose we shall see you off first thing in the morning.
Thank you, my lady.
Yes. I can tell we are going to be very good friends.
Indeed.
And we're going to jump back to Elise, Thaddeus, and Sarah. You've got 10,000 gold in a bag. Did you figure out what you were doing with it yet?
Nope.
Yeah, Elise doesn't have a bag of holding.
I believe Thaddeus does.
I have one bag of holding on my persons, and I have another bag of holding that's in Sarah, but we do not want to use that bag of holding.
Got it. But you have one on your person, which would be the current safest place to put a bag of gold, if, that's how you want to do
I
it.
need you to understand, Thaddeus. This is more trust than I've put in anyone in my entire life. I will give you this bag of gold for you to store it safely.
Yep. Okay. And then Thaddeus pulls out the bag of holding. He just holds it open and he's like, chuck it in.
It takes at least a couple seconds to part hands with this tremendous amount of gold.
As Elise is thinking about it, Thaddeus is like shaking the bag like, come on, hurry up.
Eventually, she drops it in.
Yeah, I believe it. Since this is taking a few moments for you to do this, are you doing this, still in the alley? Or have you made it back to Thaddeus' house? Or what's going on here?
I think we're still doing this in the alleyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sarah, since you're probably not... You're probably the closest one to where this is happening. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Thank you.
Sarah, as they're doing this, especially since both of them are kind of focused on these two bags, you see at the end of the alley a short figure stalking towards the group.
I pull out both
With
of my
his dagger
rapiers and interpose myself between.
As is your right. As you guys are putting the gold in the bag, you guys watch as Sarah's steps probably around you, I hope.
Yeah, and drawing both weapons.
And draws both of their weapons. As Elise, you turn to look at this and you see the gnome stalking back down the alley, just kind of looking left and right, dagger out.
Is this the same gnome as before?
This is the same gnome as before.
It's fucking hilarious. He's still looking left and right, so he still hasn't seen the entire group of people standing in front of him.
More like he's not concerned with this group of people.
Right. You don't look like the person he's looking for. You're not his problem.
Does Elise sees this happening?
Yes. Since Sarah stepped around you guys and is drawn and ready.
Telepathy to Sarah. Stand down! This gnome! Do not engage the gnome!
I will put away one of my weapons and shield out and keep an eye on them as they're walking past us looking for their prey.
And Elise will also, thinking on her feet, start to drum up conversation about the festival with Thaddeus.
Did you hear that they're bringing in a float? It's supposed to be magnificent.
What?
And she's like pushing the bag away so it's out of sight.
Yes, they're using arcane crystals to energize the float. It's supposed to be a magnificent display.
Okay.
Are
Elise.
you high?
At least roll me a deception check.
Oh, motherfucker. No, that one for 12.
That's not bad. I know it's at that one, but I mean it's more than a 10. I'm gonna see what happens. You got so lucky. You got a 12. I rolled a 10 flat on my insight.
Nice.
The gnome is going to move past you. He's going to hear what you say. So he hears you say that they're bringing in a float for the like it's charged with arcane crystals, and he's going to turn his head towards you slowly, and he's going to say, "What did you say?"
There's a float. It's something with the festival, something fancy with arcane crystals. I heard it from a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not.
Why is it called a float?
Yeah, because it floats, likely.
Flying machine.
Wouldn't be the first time, I'm sure. There's mages and their flying machines all over the place.
He's going to start to walk off, and then he's going to turn around, and he's going to be like, "Hey, how long have you been standing here?"
I look back at him and I say, "You wouldn't happen to sell soup, would you?"
What the fuck?
Well, no, I am looking for a human in a cloak. Have you seen him?
Doesn't sound familiar, but I might check that alley that way.
And she points in the opposite direction of Thaddeus's house.
Yes, I probably should. If you see him, though, tell me immediately.
Well, if you happen to see a gnome selling soup, please let me know.
So, Thaddeus, this is the second time you've brought up the gnome selling soup. So I have a question for you. Are you attempting to confuse this man? Are you just kind of like making small talk towards him, like a performance check? Are you like...
I'm genuinely inquiring about soup from a gnome. That soup the first day smelled really good.
Why don't you go ahead and roll me an insight check?
Please tell me he's
Also,
not
I'm completely
bad.
confused by Elise's sudden conversation switch to floats.
Go ahead and give me an insight check. We'll see what happens.
2 for a total of 9.
Yeah, you're absolutely confused by the whole situation suddenly changing around you. You haven't quite gotten Elise's subtle hints.
Also,
And,
Thaddeus did have a lot to drink.
And
He was at the bar for hours drinking.
You don't quite see the look of anger in this gnome's eyes, and he just says, "I don't sell soup."
Yeah, I got that, buddy. Have a great day.
If you see the man in the cloak, you let me know. And he turns to leave.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Jesus fuck. Thaddeus.
Hey, Thaddeus, what's your AC?
Yeah.
What a jerk.
Thaddeus,
Well-
what's your AC?
Sarah's gonna
Thaddeus
raid.
says all gnomes look the same.
Hang on. Thaddeus, what's your AC?
My AC's 13.
Okay. There is now a dagger in your boot.
I am going to rage and attack.
Like, did it actually cause me damage?
No, it's like right between your toes.
Okay, before Sarah has a chance to rage and attack, I simply say, don't worry about it.
It's too late.
He effectively
I did-
threw a warning shot.
Specifically say that I still have my sword and shield drawn as I'm watching this guy. So he
Well,
made a
he's
hostile
now
action.
going to throw a death saving roll.
Yes, he is.
Who is?
I am raging and I'm attacking.
Oh, you're going after the gnome. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We're just gonna make this so I guess okay.
Is there anything we can do to stop this from happening? Because like
You can
this
stop my
screws up
rage.
the entire clan.
Okay,
This is-
so
Yeah.
currently there in terms of alignment, not in terms of like in the way that this goes, there's Sarah, and then Elise is next to her, and then Thaddeus is so and then Thaddeus, and then the gnome is at the end of the alley now, who has just thrown a dagger at Thaddeus as a warning for making fun of gnomes. So effectively,
I wasn't even
Sarah
making fun of
has to
gnomes.
move past, as far as he was concerned, you are. Sarah has to move past Elise and Thaddeus in order to get to the gnome. So I guess the easiest way to do this is with an initiative roll, because Sarah is going to move first. Because they're actively trying to move first, I need to see if Elise or Thaddeus is fast enough to get their reaction in to try and stop her. So I would like an initiative roll from all of you, please. 9. Thaddeus, did
10.
you say 9?
Yep.
Boy, that's unfortunate. Sarah?
Yes.
Elise, I'm afraid to tell you that no, with a 22, there is nothing you can do to stop Sarah right now. Holy shit. Sarah has to move past you. Sarah is moving past you all. So technically speaking, you have a reaction if you think there's something you can do. But Sarah is also moving faster than the gnome. So this would be an attack of opportunity if such reactions exist.
I press Sarah's off button.
You had to hit my AC to press my off button.
Yes and no. Okay.
Grapple, probably.
Okay. So Elise is closest. So Sarah moving out of their range is the first thing. So I need a strength check from Elise and a strength and an athletics. I need athletics from Elise and athletics or acrobatics from Sarah as opposed rolls.
Going to be acrobatics.
Yeah, it would be great if I could go the other way, but no.
It would,
15.
but okay, 15's not bad.
15's not bad.
20.
That's not good enough, though. At least you reach out to grab Sarah as she goes charging down, and you're like, you get a grip on her for just a second, but she shakes free and she's moving past Thaddeus. Thaddeus, you said you wanted to go for her off button.
The off button.
Okay. How are you going for the off button?
I'm going to press it.
Okay.
You have to get to it. I'm sprinting past you.
Okay.
Tackle me.
So
and then press the
first I'm going to need a dexterity roll from you, Thaddeus, and we're going to put this at a 12 or higher, just to move
That's a
quick
4.
enough to make the move. That's unfortunately not going to make it. All right, so you're not moving quick enough, so roll ahead, roll to hit to see if you can hit her button as she moves past you, since
All right.
I can't use any other skill since you're not fast enough.
Unarmed
My AC
strike,
is
right?
25. You have to get in that 20.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So, yeah. Wait, what's your AC?
25.
Oh, yeah, I do have to get a nat 20 to get this to work.
Yep. You would
All
need
right,
a
I
nat
guess I'm
20
gonna
in order
roll.
to stop her.
So it needs to be a nat 20, right? So I can't, just like roll anything else.
No, unfortunately, that was what the dex check was for. I tried so hard.
I know. I'm going to go ahead and roll. And just to be clear, it has to be... I'm kidding.
You got a 5% chance of winning, bud. Oh, that's an 18.
So close.
23.
Well, that gnome's going to
23
die.
does not hit my AC with my shield.
Unfortunately, it does not. Oh, that's so bad.
Charge after this gnome.
Yeah, okay. Sarah charges after the gnome. Sarah, you're first. This is a surprise round. Your friends tried to stop you.
Do I have advantage? Or no, right?
You are raging, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't have the reckless attack.
Oh, okay. Well then, no, you don't have advantage because he's off on his own at the end of the alley.
9.
Does not hit.
I just got here, okay?
Okay. So you run up and you take a swing at him, and he is going to kind of shout, kind of hiss at you, and just go, and he's going to throw a smoke bomb on the ground to obscure vision, and then he is going to hide with a total of 21.
Nah. I don't
Nah?
see him. I don't see him.
Yeah, okay.
He's
With
gone.
a 6 perception check from Sarah, he is
That's
gone.
with a +5, by the way.
Yeah, with the nat 1 perception check from Sarah, he is gone.
All right. I'm going to be looking around, and
The smoke is going to slowly clear. Elise, Thaddeus, you guys watched Sarah charge into this gnome. A smoke cloud appeared. You heard him hiss, kind of, and then nothing. And as the smoke slowly clears, all you see is a scroll lying on the ground where he was.
Sarah's going to pick up the scroll and open it, which is a very smart idea, totally.
All right, go ahead and roll me a dex check.
Yep. Dex save?
No, dex check.
And nat 20 for 24.
Excellent. You go to open this scroll, and as you do so, you break the wax seal that's attached to it without damaging it. And all you see written inside of it, written in common, is just, "Now I'm watching you."
I always feel like somebody's watching me.
That's all the note says.
Okay. She's going to shove the note in her storage compartment.
How big is Sarah's storage compartment?
Not very.
Because now we've got...
A bottle of brandy, a bag that's kind of crumpled up, and
now the note. I think that's probably your limit on how much stuff you can stuff in there right now. Yeah, okay. You stuff the note in your bag. The gnome has disappeared. Elise and Thaddeus, you don't see him anywhere. Sarah doesn't see him anywhere. You guys watched her pick up something off the ground and shove it in her chest compartment.
Thaddeus will shout, "Great, Sarah, you got him. Now can we go?"
of course, Thaddeus.
Telepathically, Elise will mention to Thaddeus,
That was the mark. The bodyguard of the fellow who hired an assassin.
Thaddeus will just kind of, look down and kind of mumble to himself like, yeah, I kind of gathered that. And then he'll shout as Sarah's walking towards, "Sorry about that. Have a nice day."
Yeah, okay.
Hey, sorry, my robot tried to murder you. Peace.
Okay. I'll give you 3 options here. You can give me persuasion, intimidation, or deception. However you feel like this "have a nice day" is coming out.
Well, considering that all 3 are 0, can I roll Arcana?
Seen that coming.
Okay, hang on. If all 3 of them are 0, can you properly argue any other skill?
Well, you see, the thing is that when I'm saying "have a nice day," I'm saying it with a kind of a magical intonation, similar to using Arcana.
Oh, God.
You know what? Just because we're nearing the end of the episode, go ahead and roll me a d20 to see if you convince the GM.
Woohoo!
roll your gaslight check.
Gaslight.
Yeah, just a flat d20. Let's see if you can. Let's see if you convince me. With a 4, you do not. No Arcana.
Nope.
How about
Nope.
performance or survival?
Survival works.
Sure.
See, now this is really cool because this is a really awesome GM who's actually giving me the benefit of the doubt, just not Arcana.
Not Arcana.
You weren't
Just
casting
not
a
giving-
spell.
Wow, that was a 10.
Okay.
Just for the sake of curiosity, I do want to see what it would have been if I just, at this point, I want to see what the dice would have landed on if I rolled persuasion.
Another
okay.
4. All right, we're going to take this 10 for survival. Okay, I'm going to keep a note of that. But you guys make your way back to Thaddeus' house.
And he said it genuinely, too. Like, he wasn't trying to be sarcastic.
Are you guys just going to bed for the rest of the evening? Are you planning on making some moves during the night? What's your goal here? How long are you going to stay up waiting for Shimmer?
I think we'll just do our normal rushes.
What time is it now?
I would say that it is currently probably... we're getting just late enough, around 10 o'clock at night.
Well, while that's going on and they're figuring out what they want to do, I'm going to repair my boot.
Are you using a spell or are you tinkering with it?
We are in fact tinkering because I don't. No, I do not. Yeah, we're tinkering. Actually,
all right.
Dang it! I should have used shield. Keep forgetting that I have that as a reaction.
I'm sorry. Are you telling me that you had the ability to bypass this whole situation being a problem the whole time?
It would still would have been a problem because he attacked him.
I refuse to answer at this time.
Uh-huh. All right. So you guys handle your evenings. You're waiting. You wait a little bit for Shimmer, but in the end, I assume that you all end up falling asleep. Is this true?
Well,
No, I stay up and I
can
study my
watch.
blueprints because we've woke up in the afternoon, so I'm going to be up all night.
Okay. Then I guess you can spend the next couple of hours studying your blueprints. Sarah is going to keep watch.
Yeah.
All right. Elise, what are you doing? Since everyone's, sleep schedule is a little fucked up.
That's a good question.
Oh, one thing I do, though, is I go outside and those two masks that are in front of my window, I just kind of move them away.
Smart.
Because they are freaking me out.
Okay.
He's probably playing solitaire, honestly.
With your
with
cards.
a deck of cards.
Just be sure it's the right deck and not the magical deck that creates crazy things.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the two magical decks that create things.
Okay. All right. So, Sarah, go ahead and roll me a perception check, and we'll see how well the night goes.
I know it feels right.
Okay. I will keep a note of that. Elise is doing their own thing. Thaddeus is studying his blueprints. So that brings you a couple hours closer to understanding them, Thaddeus. And
Yes,
Sarah
and it
is
seems
keeping
that
an
I
eye
can,
out.
apparently if I attach a energy source at this particular location here, I can actually increase the weapon's output by a lot, enough to vaporize things, like baby yetis.
Shimmer is staying at Lady Artman's house in the guest room. Shimmer, you also said you were keeping a watch on them, correct?
Yes.
So go ahead and roll me a perception check for you.
Perception. Where are you? 13.
Got it. I will keep a note of that. But this is where we're going to draw the end of the episode today. Everybody has made it back safe and sound. There's about an hour left until midnight hits. So day 3 starts next episode.
That clock is just ticking away.
It is.
Tick, tick, tick.
Going to be down to 120 hours here shortly. Ooh, buddy. But that's all for now. When we return next episode, I'm sure that the Timebreakers will continue to impress us.
Timebreakers, Timebreakers.
You can come join the Discord. Link is in the description and help us build the city from the inside. You can leave a rating, leave a review, and tell us how you really feel about Shimmer splitting the party at such a crucial moment. Thanks for listening.
I feel fantastic.
Totally Shimmer. 100% Shimmer's fault. Nobody else's fault. Shimmer's.